This conference will now be recorded.
Fantastic, it's on record. Brilliant. So social media for intermediates. So this is obviously an intermediate webinar. We've held a beginner session of this face-to-face, so hopefully you should all have a fairly good grasp of the basics already. And it's really come about because a lot of the clubs and organisations we work with identified that they actually needed some support in social media. So what we're going to cover today, to be able to carry out a quick and simple audit of your social media accounts, both Facebook and Twitter, learn some engaging content top tips and which apps you could possibly use. I'm going to do a brief introduction to boosting Facebook posts and Facebook advertising, and then we're going to learn how to schedule posts on Facebook and Twitter, and also know how to measure the effectiveness of your posts as well, which is important to see if they're working. Okay, so just a quick overview of social media. It really does have the potential, when used correctly, to have a huge, to make a huge difference to your club or organisation. That's not to say it's a silver bullet and can solve everything, but it does definitely have a place. No matter what people say, Facebook is still the main social media site, and there are a huge number of features and lots of users on it, and it makes it particularly good for clubs and organisations because of the amount of features it has. Twitter's great. It's designed for quick engagement and brand organisation awareness, and it's really useful for talking to a targeted audience. And again, Instagram, if you're using that, I'm not sure how many of you are, but it's great to engage with a more youthful audience with the pictures and the videos you can use. It gives a really good behind the scenes snapshot of what's going on in your organisation. However, with everything on social media, it must have a specific aim in mind. So whatever you do must have a purpose, whether that's to promote your club or organisation to new people, or to communicate to existing members, or a combination of the two. But whatever it is, you must be posting for a certain reason. Okay, so we want to make sure that our accounts look great and have as much complete information as possible. And a good way to do this is to do a quick audit, because it is easy to miss something. So you need to have on your Facebook page a detailed about section, which needs to include the map function. The map function is really good, it looks really professional, and general content information or contact information. What I would encourage you to do, if you are a voluntary club, is to have a club email address here, not a personal email address. It looks a bit more professional, and it just helps in case, you know, hopefully more people have access to that email, so have that generic contact information. There's a new section called Story on the Facebook page, and you can add a bit of history to your club, a bit about your club, along with some photos, and it looks good if that's filled in and completed. And below that, you've got team members and committee members you can add to your page. And again, to make sure that you have permission from those people to put their details on this page. But again, it looks good, it just completes the page. Next, make sure your logo is your profile picture. This is really important, and it's so that you're easily recognisable when someone's looking for you. And so it's obviously your post when it comes up on people's news feeds. You can, though, be a bit more creative in your cover photo. You can either have just one photo, you can create a slideshow of photos in here, and so you've got a slideshow going across constantly, or you can now put a video in this cover photo, which looks quite effective. You could even use this cover photo to advertise an upcoming event, just to give it a bit more promotion. It's often difficult to get a photo that fits that specific place well. There's a great website I'm going to talk about a bit later on called Canva, and that will allow you to create a photo which is exactly that size, which looks really good. And finally, on this page, to create a call to action button, such as contact us or sign up, just to give the person visiting that page the next step that they can do. Okay. I don't know about you, but whenever I look at an organisation or a company on the internet, I will look to see what reviews that organisation has. So I'd really encourage you to get any users or any customers to leave reviews on your Facebook page, and to be as descriptive as possible when leaving those reviews. And And on the left-hand side, when you've got your page up, you can see it says Arrange Tabs. Now, this grayed out column here, it doesn't have to be in that order all the time. So what you can do, you can go to Settings on your page, and then you go to Edit Page, and then you can order that list in the order you feel is the priority for your organisation. You can also delete tabs, and you can create tabs as well, but just so you can order them so it reflects your priorities as a club or organisation. And finally, the pinned post. It's really great to have a pinned post. This is a post that you select to stay at the top of your page's timeline. So whenever someone visits your page, that's going to be the first post they see. And you can pin a post by clicking on the 3 dots at the top of your post and then clicking the pin button. You can obviously only pin one at a time, but it might be, again, that you've got an event coming up or a piece of really important information that you want to be at the top of your page all the time, so you've decided to pin that post. But again, like I said, you can only have one at a time. Going on to Twitter, Twitter audit is also very, very similar. Make sure everything's in order. So make sure you have a detailed biog section. Try to include hashtags if you can, because again, if people are searching for a hashtag, it will come up if it's in that section of your bio. It does have a character limit, so be careful. Again, have your logo as your profile picture so you're easily recognizable. And change your cover photo regularly. Again, you can use it to promote upcoming events. And like I mentioned for Facebook, this website called Canva, you can edit a photo so it fits exactly into that space on Twitter, which is really, really useful and looks much more professional. Make sure you include a website link, whether that's to your website or maybe to your Facebook page if you don't have a website. And like Facebook, you can have a pinned tweet. So again, that just makes sure that's at the top of your Twitter page. Okay, so content is king, really. That's the message here. And whatever you put on your pages or your accounts is hugely important. It needs to be interesting and relevant, especially to compete with everything that's out there on social media and the internet. So we've just got some content stats for you here. 80% of audiences prefer watching live video as opposed to reading a blog or an article. 82% of audiences prefer to watch a video than read social media posts. And 85% of non-live videos are watched with the sound off. I do this particularly. I might be watching it late at night or in bed, and I will make sure the sound's off. So subtitles are really, really important if you use videos. Infographics can increase website traffic by up to 15%. And again, I'll show you an app which will be able to do, you can make your own infographics. And tweets with images receive 150% more retweets than tweets without images. So making sure your posts are visually appealing really is essential. So we've got some top tips to create engaging content here. And again, these are just ideas that you can use. There's a lot here, so maybe just take a couple away with you and think you can work on those. You can link website content and blog articles, so from your website onto your social media, and that's as simple as cutting and pasting. And once you cut and paste a URL into Facebook, it should come up with a nice box so that people can just click on that link instead of having to click on the ugly URL. And again, have a look at what trending stories are around and national days and campaigns. On the left-hand side there, you can see the daily hashtags. A lot of people follow these hashtags. So if you pop, for example, hashtag Top Tip Tuesday into one of your posts, and you're giving a specific coaching drill or a bit of advice, then that will come up on people's feeds who follow Top Tip Tuesday. So it's just another way to engage more followers. For example, this weekend on Sunday is the BBC Sports Personality of the Year, and they've got the Big Thank You campaign, which is hashtag Big Thank You. And it's a campaign to thank all of the volunteers in sport across the country. So it might be that this Sunday you send some Facebook posts out and Twitter posts or Instagram posts with hashtag Big Thank You on it, and it might get more of a following. ask for feedback or help with the decision. For example, creating a Facebook poll is a really great way of encouraging interaction. You could be asking what kind of kit the rest of the club wants, or an opinion about something. It can be serious or it can be jokey, but it's just a great way to get engagement. You can set up how-to demonstrations and videos, and some behind-the-scenes content as well. So, for example, before a presentation evening or an awards ceremony, you could have, getting a room ready or something like that. And make sure the posts are relevant to why they're following you. And I just want to highlight in this section is to avoid any in-jokes. There was a club I used to follow who made a lot of in-jokes, which only a couple of people actually got. So they found that their following got less and less as the months went by. And share other pages or posts from other pages. So, for example, information from a governing body or a related topic. This could be, for example, I know we've got Laura from Netball here. If there's a rule change in netball, it's posting something like the rule change onto your page. Here, this comes on to making content varied. There is a rule of thirds. So a third of your posts should be promotions and updates, a third should be news and trends, and a third personalised content. This isn't a hard and fast rule, but it really does help to make sure that content's varied and it's not the same kind of thing you're posting each time. And at the bottom, I've just got a bit about competitions, because it's a really great way to boost engagement on all your platforms. And maybe you could offer a prize or a discount for the winner. So it might be a physical prize, or it might be money off membership. And we suggest that you use a random number generator to pick the winner. There's lots of those on the internet. However, whatever you do, you just need to be clear on how you're picking the winner so that people are aware. Okay, being consistent is really the key to all of this. A lot of us are volunteers and it's a lot to do, so we're not going to be able to post as much as maybe private organisations. Ideally, you want to be posting 2 to 3 times a day, but being consistent is far more important than the amount of posts you do. Like I said, especially as volunteers. In my opinion, an account that isn't used regularly is a lot worse than not having one at all. And this really brings me on to scheduling. I know a few of you do this already, but just to highlight to those that don't, if you know that you need to post something on Tuesday and Thursday this week, but you're not going to be around to do it, you can sit down maybe on the Sunday night, you can head to publishing tools at the top, create post, you can type your post in, you can create your post, do everything you need to, add your video, add your photo, and then that bottom arrow with the drop down arrow, go to schedule, and you can pick the exact day and time that you want that Facebook post to go out. It's a really great way if you do have a busy week coming up. Obviously, you can't do it for live match scores or anything like that because you don't know them, but things that you know you've got the information for already and you know when they need to go out, it's a really useful tool. And if you're not sure whether you scheduled it, you can just pop to the scheduled posts tab on the left hand column there in the grade section, and that will list all the scheduled posts that you've put into the system. It is a really good tool. We use it a lot at work and we also use it a lot at club, and it does help, especially, like I said, people are volunteers and they are busy. Right, some top tips for engagement. So here are some further just to help you expand your reach, and as ever, it takes time. The main message here is that you need to engage to get engagement. New followers, likes, and engagement is not just going to fall into your lap. You will need to work for it. So I'm just going to go through really briefly what you could do to do this. As a page, you can like other pages. So we'd really encourage you to like similar pages or other relevant pages and engage with their content. You can find your pages feed if you're unsure about this in the right hand side of your page in the section that talks about response rates. Okay, and next, engage with all engagement and interaction. So if anyone comments or mentions you, make sure you engage. You could say thank you, you could ask them a question in return. It's also really important to engage with negative feedback. Be professional about it. ask, acknowledge that you've seen it and ask to take the conversation further offline. So, dirty laundry isn't aired in public, although I'm sure you won't need to do that. Next, tag people, sponsors, and other pages into posts. So, for example, if you had a player of the match or a team sponsor, or if there's a piece of work you're doing with a partner, make sure you tag them into the post. People feel valued when they are mentioned, and they're more likely to share a post if they're mentioned in it, and therefore if they're sharing the post, more people will eventually end up seeing that post. We've already talked about hashtags, but they're really great because they make posts searchable. So if someone's following hashtag Taunton, for example, on Facebook, Twitter, or on Instagram, all the mentions of hashtag Taunton will come up in their feed. Hashtags are particularly important for Twitter and Instagram. Apparently the rule for Instagram is you should use at least 11 hashtags, which I think is a bit excessive, but there you go. They are very important on those platforms. For me, this is the most important one, making content visual. It needs to stand out. Like we said, there's a lot of content on the internet. You really need to stand out from your competitors, or you need to make sure that people are wanting to click on your posts and see what your posts have to say. If you've got an iPhone and you've got iMovie, I'd really have a go at creating videos with that. It's really simple to use, and actually it looks quite professional. Make sure you vary what you say and how you say it. Even if you want to say the same message a few times over a couple of weeks, please don't just cut and paste that message, because the Facebook algorithm will be alerted and your posts won't be featured as prominently because they will be seen as repeats. So you might just need to change the wording a bit, change the image as well if you can, but the Facebook algorithm will see that it's a repeat and it won't make your post as visible. However, there is a little cheat, and this is quite a nice little tip to know if you don't know it. You can encourage your followers to see your content first. So when someone logs into Facebook, and they will have their newsfeed come up on the screen, at the moment your stuff might be lost, if they have to scroll down 10 times to see it. What you can do, you can get them to do this little trick, and it will mean that whenever they log in to Facebook, your content will be at the top of their newsfeed. You get them to hover over the following tab on your page, which is underneath your cover photo, and then once they've hovered on that, there'll be an option where they select see first, and that will mean your stuff will come up at the top of their newsfeed whenever they log in. And there's another little cheat here. So you can invite your friends to like your page as well if they don't already, but you can also invite people who aren't your friends to like your page, but they will need to like one of your posts. So for example, if you post a photo of a winning team in your club, and or just a team in your club, and someone in that team shares that post with their friends, and some of their friends like it, you can go to the like section on that original post, and it will show all the people that like it. It will show the people that already like your page, and it will tell you that they like your page already. But the people that don't like your page, there's an option to actually invite them. So we do that quite often at work. If we see that a post has got quite high engagement and quite a few likes, we'll click on those likes, and the ones that don't like our page, we will invite them to like our page, and then it's up to them if they like it or not. But it's just another way to increase your followers and hopefully engagement that way. So there's a lot of information there, so maybe just take one or two bits to try out for your own social media accounts. I'm just really quickly going to speak about Facebook Live, and the stats that we talked about a minute ago showed how popular live video is at the moment. So doing something like Facebook Live does seem a bit of a no-brainer. When you go to write a post, it will give you the option of going live. Some people find this a bit scary, but once you've done it a couple of times, it's absolutely fine. It is really a great opportunity to showcase the people in your organisation and sort of behind the scenes. your followers and your, the people that follow your page will be notified that you've gone live, so they'll have the option to watch that, and they'll be able to comment on your video and interact with you directly. We do suggest that you stay live for at least 5 minutes to help build your audience, so that, if someone thinks, they started to go live a minute ago, I'm not going to bother because I know they'll be off. So we encourage you each time to stay live for at least 5 minutes. You could host live question and answer sessions with staff members, with participants, share news. We do it quite often where we share part of a game. If the game's getting exciting and it's going into the last 5 minutes, we'll quite often stream a game live. It does sound quite intimidating sometimes, but give it a go. Plan well for your first one, just so you feel comfortable. But it is good fun, and you will see that it gets a lot of engagement. I've just popped Instagram stories on the bottom here as well, because again, a lot of the way the content's digested on Instagram at the moment is through those videos. It's through the stories that they have at their top of their feed. A lot of people, I don't know if anyone's actually using Instagram here, but it's something you might be thinking about if you did want to engage with that younger audience. But Instagram stories are a great way for people to engage at the moment. We spoke earlier about making content visually appealing, and there are some apps that can help with this. I've mentioned Canva quite a few times. It really is brilliant. It's free to use, however, there are some bits you can pay for, but as an organisation, we've only used the free bits, and they make social media posts look very very professional. And it's not only social media posts they can help with, they've got templates for brochures, leaflets, posters, invitations, you name it. They've got a lot on there, so have a look at that. PhotoJet and PhotoGrid, they're great for making collages, and again, it just allows you to show more photos than the one photo. And Boomerang, I'm sure some of you have heard of that. Again, it's a little video that plays back and forth all the time, but it's these very high engagement levels. It's very popular on Instagram, but it can be shared on Facebook and Twitter as well. Have a look at them all. But if you do only have time to look at one, I would suggest Canva. You do need to put an email address and password in to set up an account, but it's definitely worth doing. You can have a lot of fun on there. Canva also allows you to create your own infographics, which again get a huge amount of engagement. So you could put an infographic together about how many members you have, how many sessions you've held, how many games you've had, things like that. People do engage with it a lot more than just text. Okay, so Facebook Insights, if you don't know it, you can analyze the data behind your page to learn from your activity, what content does your audience respond best to and what doesn't work very well. I love this page. You can get lost in it for ages having a look at the data. Once you click on the Insights tab at the top, again, this column on the left-hand side will come down with overview, promotions, followers, likes. I'm just going to highlight a few of them for today. The followers tab, on this one, you can see the number of followers and likes and when these followers and likes took place. So you can see whether it's increased, whether it's decreased, and when that happened, whether it was after, it might have increased after a time of when you were really trying to push your engagement and you made a lot of posts. The next one, reach, this shows the number of people that had one of your posts show on their screen. So you can also see how many people recommended your page and reactions to your posts and comments and the amount of shares you've had as well. So that's quite an interesting one. But my favourite tab here is the posts. So really make sure you check this one out. It's really interesting. It will bring up all your posts with your most recent first, and it will show you the reach and engagement of each post, and it shows you in a visual way. So it will have a little bar to show you whether it's had high or low engagement, and it's really easy to see because it's visual. And the top of this tab as well is also really good. So once you go into posts, at the top of that page, it shows you what time your fans or the people that follow your page are online. So you can schedule your posts using this information. We run Netball Social League here at SAS, and we've got a page for this social league, and we've got about 800 people on it, and that Insights tab tells me that 95% of our followers are women, and that the time when most of them are online are at 9 o'clock in the evening. So we schedule our posts to go out at 9 o'clock in the evening or just before, to make sure that it's seen by as many people as possible. So that's a really, really useful tab, is that posts tab. And finally, on this page, the people tab, this shows you who actually follows you, their age, their gender, and their location. So that can be useful as well. Just going to add another bit on your Facebook Insights, on that first headline page of Facebook Insights. At the bottom is add pages. Now this is really, really useful because you compare yourself against similar pages on Facebook. So for example, I've got some netball clubs here, and you can compare yourself that week to other netball clubs, see how they're doing. If someone's had a great week, you can click on their page and see what they did that week and what's working for them to get that high engagement. Really key here that other pages won't know that you're watching them, so don't worry about adding them. I think you can add up to 5 or 6 pages to watch. So I know I think we've got someone from Strode College on the webinar. So you could add, Yeovil College, Rich Jewish College, Bridgewater and Taunton College, and just see how they're performing. And then if they've got high engagement one week, click on their page and just see what they've done to do that. Or Stacey, you could have other Swim England regions on there to see how you're comparing against those. So again, it's just a handy little thing that you could do on Facebook. I'm not going to go into too much detail on Facebook advertising, but I just wanted to highlight a few bits and pieces. Facebook advertising has been shown to be actually very cost effective. It's really easy to target your audience and increase your reach. You can either boost posts, so an existing post that you've got, and you can see on the left hand side there, that orange arrow is where it's your post, and it's giving you the option to boost posts, so you can click on that, and then it would bring up this top picture, and you can base your targeting on location, interests of people, and much more. There is a minimum of £1 spend when boosting a post, and you can also schedule the amount of time you want the boost to run for, whether it's 7 days or a specific custom duration. It's up to you. What is useful on your Insights page, it will tell you how many people your post reach naturally without the boost, and also how many people it reached using that paid boost. So that's really interesting. Facebook ads, they're a bit more expensive, but if I was you, if it's the first time you're using this, I'd just have a go at the boosting posts section, because it's not a huge amount of money compared to the Facebook ads, and you can just test the water, see if it works for you. It might not do, but it might be interesting that, yeah, you might get this extra reach, but actually, is it resulting in anything? Is it resulting in extra engagement? So give that a go if that's something you're interested in. Okay, just going to finish off with having a really quick look at Twitter and what the perfect tweet should look like. Firstly, make sure you have a full-size image and make it eye-catching. Again, I've spoken about Canva. Canva has another template to make sure you get the perfect size Twitter picture. So use Canva to make sure you've got the right size picture and that people don't need to click on the picture to see the whole thing. Secondly, make sure you include a web link. So whether this is to your website or to your Facebook page, but make sure it's relevant to the tweets and just allows them to get a bit more information if they want it. Make sure you include your hashtags on Twitter so that your tweet can be searchable. People can find it if they're not necessarily following you. And another handy tip is tagging accounts in the photo. Obviously, there's a character limit for Twitter, which makes it really difficult to tag lots and lots of people sometimes. So if you add a photo, it allows you to tag up to 10 organisations in that photo. So it's a great way of getting around the character limit in the actual body of the text. So you can tag in 10 accounts, they're aware that they've been tagged in, and hopefully they'll retweet or comment on it. You can only tag accounts in a photo if you're tweeting live, not if you're using a scheduling piece of software, which we'll go on to in a minute. So, similar to the role of publishing tools on Facebook, sites such as TweetDeck and Hootsuite allow you to schedule to ensure a consistent presence on Twitter and making sure you're getting a consistent amount of posts out each week. You can't schedule directly from Twitter itself, unfortunately, so you do need to use these pieces of software. And again, they've got an analytics function on Twitter, so you can analyze the data behind your account to learn from your activity. You can find who are your followers, which are your best performing tweets, and which tweets don't work so well. We use Twitter analytics at work, and it really does reflect the amount of followers and the amount of engagement really reflects the amount of time we put into Twitter. So we do really see reward for our work. And if we have a quiet couple of weeks, we can really see the engagement really does drop. Okay, so it has been a bit of a whistle-stop tour of social media. There's been quite a bit to take in. You might have known some of it already, but I do hope there's a couple of bits that you can take away with you and work on over the next few weeks. My suggestion would be trying Facebook Live and maybe scheduling some posts as well. And please have a look at Canva, because it's a really great resource. I will send the slides and recording on to you early next week, probably, because I'm not in the office tomorrow. But that's about it from me. I'm going to stop recording, but I'm going to then open it up for any questions. So I will just record it. Oh, actual final page, there's some further information. My email address if you need to contact me. The Club Matters website, which is really useful. It's got a lot of information on social media, but also general club information, governance, marketing, finance, that kind of thing. And the Beast and Bees Hockey Club, they are a good example of a club using social media effectively. So have a look for them on Facebook and Twitter and see what they do to give you a few more ideas. Okay, let's stop recording. Okay, does anyone have any questions? I'll unmute you all. If you need to leave, that's fine. But if you've got any questions, feel free to talk.
Yeah, just one question about the boosting on Facebook. We've got a public group, and I never get that blue button coming up at the bottom right. So I've never been able to find out how to boost.
How to boost? On groups, you can't.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
So what?
So that'd be the problem.
Can I actually post it individually in members? Would that be a way around it?
You can. So you've got it on your group, have you, at the moment?
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Sort of campaigns that we're trying to promote.
Yeah.
They're all going onto our group page.
Yeah.
But well, I didn't realise this, so I tried to do it, but yeah, it didn't seem to be any way of boosting from that group page.
Yeah, you won't be able to do that from the group. You can only boost posts from a page, unfortunately. So there's not much more you can probably do from that group apart from post it, a couple of times maybe, so that people get the message. But I would. Where are you from, Mike? Sorry.
It's the Taunton Area Cycling Campaign, so we're more of a campaign organisation, but focusing on cycling.
Well, if you wanted help to set up a page, I'd be more than happy to. If you wanted to give me a call or something, we can,
I thought you said you've been working.
So yeah, if you wanted to give me a call next week, Mike, or anything, and we can, if you wanted to be more information about setting up a page, I'd be more than happy to do that.
So would it cause confusion to have a page and to have a group page, facility? Because I'll have to enable the people to post things, and have conversations.
I'm a fan of both, I must admit. So I think a page is really good for your public presence, and it shows because anyone can see it. It shows the world what you're about, really. However, a group is really good for having those offline conversations with people. You don't want to be in the public domain. So for example, I'm going to use netball again. We've got a netball club page which shows people what we're about. It gives information, but we've got groups for every team, so they can have their team conversations in those private groups.
Right. Okay, I think that's probably what I need to do. That's great, thank you.
All right.
I'll give you a shout if I need any help.
Yeah, no worries. Brilliant. Okay, has anyone else got any other questions?
I have a question. Could you tell us how to follow another page from your business page?
Yeah, so I don't have Facebook up in front of me at the moment, but if you're on your page, I think when you go to like, you can select like as page or like as yourself. But if I double check that, and when I send the slides around next week, can I let you know that, Henriette? Is that okay?
Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else, or is that it?
There's a lot of you've covered a lot of really good, information and advice. I mean, if most of which I'm not doing at the moment. I mean, if they've got to start somewhere, what would you pick out 2 or 3 to get going with for the time being out of that?
Yeah, I would firstly make sure that all content is visual, so whether you can still write stuff, but I'd always include a photo or a video with that post, so that people, especially
try to do that.
You can do that. Keep it consistent. So as an organisation, we post at least 2 times a day, but that's not relevant for some people. So if you're a certain organisation, you just might want to post 3-4 times a week, but keep it consistent. Don't post nothing for 2 weeks and then post 10 things in a day, because people won't appreciate that too much. So yeah, keep it consistent and make sure it's visual to start with.
Great, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I have another question. That you showed us details about how to follow another page, your competitors. Could you just show us again how to get to that? Because I've looked on Facebook now and I can't figure out which of those. I know it should be in Insights, but which one of the
So are you on your Facebook page now?
I am, yeah.
Oh. Okay, so if you go to Insights, and then scroll down right down to the bottom.
Okay.
It should have the blue button that says Add Pages.
I don't have that. My last bit would be where your page likes happened.
Okay. Is it anywhere else on that? Again, that's something else I can have a look at and let you know. I can't imagine it.
I'm in likes at the moment, so should I be under the overview of Insights?
Overview, yeah, Insights overview.
Right.
Okay, and then scroll.
Right at the bottom, I've got my most recent posts. On the top, I've got a page summary, and then I've got a blue button there at the bottom of that section that says Promote Local Business. And then I've got, and underneath that, I've got recent promotions and then my own recent posts. And that's
okay. I will have a look at that again, and I'll let you know if that's okay. I don't know where that's gone now then.
Thank you.
I will have a look at that. I would have a look at it on my phone, but it's set up differently on my phone, so I don't want to do that and tell you something else.
No worries. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Feel free to pop.
Sorry, just one quick. Somebody else. Sorry. Yeah, just one quick question about the public group again. Are you able to pin anything at the top, or you're not, as administrator of the group, if you pin something at the top, is that not possible with a public group?
So to put something where? Sorry.
Well, you were talking about pinning the post at the top, so you can always see it.
Yeah.
Can you actually do that with a public group if you're the administrator? Because I can't.
No.
I never find you can't. Okay.
No, again, I think that's something that's specific for
Yeah.
pages.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
have to do it in a group. I don't know if it's Facebook are changing all the time. They'll bring new bits and pieces in without telling people. So it might be something they do bring in or have brought in, but I've never been able to do that from a group.
No. Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
again, that's a pages thing.
Thanks.
Let me have a look. Okay. If that's it, I'm going to stop the webinar. Again, you've got my contact details, so feel free to give me a call or send me an email and ask me any questions, and I will send the slides and this recording out as well next week, just in case you need to go back over anything. I hope it's been helpful. I hope the webinar technology has worked for you. Like I said, it's still quite new for us, so if you have any feedback on the webinar itself, please let me know. That would be fantastic. But for now, I will close this down and I will be in touch next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.